So tonight we're just going to do a watercolour lesson for YouTube, of course, and this is a photo that I took quite a few years ago in Grindlewald in Switzerland, and I think that's looking across at the north face of the Eiger. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure. So many years ago now. So let's just do that. Of course, it's not going to be an exact representation of that, but we'll do something similar. So of course, first of all, we've got the sky, and that sky there is definitely a bit of cerulean blue. So we'll just do a graduated wash. We'll just put a bit in there, and then we're just reaching across, grabbing a little bit of clean water. I've got the page at an angle. Just getting fresh water each time. I'm keeping it up at that angle. Now, because this arches paper has got a bit of sizing, you've got to use a decent amount of water, because it almost can potentially bead on top almost because of the sizing. So you've just got to be pretty generous with the water if you want the water to completely cover the page, especially using a small round sable. Right, so I'll just pick up that, lay it down. Alright, let's try this. So I might just grab a pencil this time, and we'll just sketch this in, and I suppose what I would normally do is, like, I might just move this a little bit this way so that the main peak is just here, and it comes down like this, down here, and down there, and then a little bit more. Cool. So there's quite a few different ways that we could do this. I think what I'll probably do is just bring in a light wash of this mountain, and then I'll do some shadowing. So let's do that. What I'm going to do is just wipe that out a bit. And what I might do is just dry this. I'm just going to bring in some shadows now. Alright, again we'll dry this. So I'm just going to use a little bit of Hooker's Green Dark to do these pine trees. And there's my local ringtail possum. I'm just adding a little bit of cobalt blue to just tone it down a bit, I suppose. The other thing is, obviously, I don't normally paint in this style, so if I wanted to really make sure I was doing a brilliant job, then it would be worth my while practicing pine trees. Like, what's the best way to make that shape? So let's just get started here. So what I don't really love doing is just painting every little bit of detail. I really don't like doing that. So if I can get away with not, then I will not. So let's just see how we go. Nope. Probably could have drawn in roughly where I want this. See, this sort of slopes up here, and then this kind of goes like this. Roughly like that. Just so I know where to stop, because there's a pretty solid line just there where it all stops, and it's pretty dark and dense down in there. A lot of gaps in the foliage. The other thing is, of course, I could just use a just adding a mixture of the cobalt blue and light red to this to just bring in the shadows. Of which there are quite a few shadows. See if we can bring in a bit more we'll come in with this and then come in with some more detail in a bit. Pure green. So probably the most important thing is to just sort of see which way the branches kind of are orientated, and to just sort of make your marks in an appropriate way. I am not actually looking at the photo heaps. If I wanted to get the exact number of trees and the exact so I'm just looking at them and seeing what they roughly do. So I think some people really love detail, and I'm not a massive fan of detail. So if I had to do a painting that went for a very long time, in which I had to do a lot of detail, I just wouldn't really love it. So probably why I don't really do this sort of style of painting very often. Alright. So then the next thing is to just bring in a little bit of that foreground. So I'll just bring in some foreground. Charge it with a few different colours. The amazing thing is about up in Grindlewald is how beautiful the green areas are. Just totally amazing, actually. And if you wanted to, you could just put in a few bits of, a few bits of dark and stuff if you wanted to, or not. Totally up to you. Alright, I think that's the end of that exercise on the, really it was a watercolour painting for YouTube, but really it's just a simple mountain of an actual location. It's the north face of the Eiger in Grindlewald in Switzerland from many years ago, before I had children and couldn't travel anymore. So anyway, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Good night. Oh, and just one last thing is that, as you can see, I have quite exaggerated the shape of this mountain here, and but that's called artistic license, and I think it just makes it look a nicer painting. And I also moved obviously the mountain a little bit off center as well, again just to make it a more interesting picture. So when you're painting something, you don't have to paint it exactly what you can see in the photo. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you later. Good night.